Hello!
Hi,
I'm Bridget.
I'm Peter.
and I'm Sam.
We're talking about American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Oh, okay.
You have the other cover.
Yeah.
It's not as pretty.
But
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
$10 cheaper.
No,
yeah,
I
I think
got
this
this for like $10. So
Wow.
this one's the author's preferred text, but other than
yeah, I
that,
know. I got the same one as you.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is the one Molly had originally. When she was still going to do the live show.
Yeah. I was like, that one's pretty. I want that one.
Can
That
I
is
just
really pretty.
point out? Can I just point out the irony though? Molly was the one who wanted to read American Gods and discuss it, and then she's not
Yeah.
in the live show.
She's got finals and everything, so
Yeah, yeah.
that sucks.
That's all right. We forgive her.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we do this again? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah.
Think about it. So, if we go to YouTube, no. Okay. So what do we want to talk about first? What were your overall thoughts on the book?
All right. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'd say overall, it's like, of all the books we've read for this group, this is possibly on the lower section of the spectrum. I think it's that I read it in kind of chunks spread far apart in time, and a lot of it just went over my head, but I did like it. I thought it was good.
hmm
All right. Yeah, I think it is simultaneously like I simultaneously hated it and loved it. I hated it for the majority of it. Like I couldn't stand reading it, but I'm really glad I did read it, especially after getting to the end.
Yeah.
I think it's very well crafted.
Yeah. So I probably liked it the least out of all of it. I struggled with reading this book so much. It was like I didn't want to read, and I've been in a reading slump, and I think it's because of this book, because I just did not want to read this book. And it was like I need to read this one because it like needs to be the next one I read because we've got the live show and everything. But it was like so I have to watch it. But at the same time I was like I don't want to read this book. So I just kept putting it off, and it just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, for a while I intended not to finish it because I just hated it so much.
I know
You
you
know,
do.
I did not want to keep reading it. Every page made me physically sick. I mean, you remember I told you about it. And then what I don't know. Once I finally got to the end, I would never reread it, but I am glad that I did read it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I
Um,
was told that like there was this point where it suddenly gets really just immersive, and I feel like I spent the whole book fighting to get to that point, and it never happened for me.
yeah, yeah. When I saw your review on Goodreads talking about that part, um,
What?
I kind of thought it would be like when the weight gets lifted off your shoulders, and it doesn't make you physically sick anymore. But that never happened. I was still like physically sick all the way through to the end.
Gosh. If you hear that sound, just saying to everyone watching, if you hear that sound, that's Google
Yeah,
singing in the background telling me I need to upload something that I already uploaded. So, just saying. Um, yeah, I feel like it was a well-crafted story, as you said, Peter. Like there were lots of details that sort of matched up, but there were parts where I was like, I don't know why I need to know this in the grand scheme of the story, and I don't know how this is going to connect to anything. And some of the parts I still don't even know after finishing the book. I'm like, I don't know why we needed to have that scene because it didn't seem that vitally important to the story. Like it didn't. We didn't. Why? I don't know.
yeah.
But there was one page where I was like, oh, this is good.
Do you know what page it is?
It was like, hold on, 365, I want to say.
Because I can tell you when I really came to appreciate it. Page 414 was when I first started to have any positive feelings toward it. It was really funny. Before I found out that neither Molly nor Alex would be able to do this, I had just decided I was not reading this.
I know you told me that.
Yeah, and I'd even like told my cousin had read it over the summer and stuff, and I'd even told her, yeah, I'm just not gonna read it. And she's like, well, read it when you're older because I think it's worth reading. And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It was the part where it started talking about books. I was like, oh, books.
Of course, that's
Something I understand.
Yes.
Was it at like a library where no, it was at a bookstore or something where he got that book about Lakeside.
And I was looking at the different ancestries.
Yeah.
No.
Can I just say real quick that where it turned out to be Hinselman at the end?
Oh my god.
I was mortified because I actually kind of liked that guy. I have to say.
Too.
I always liked that character.
He was like, you thought he was so carefully crafted to be just the innocent human, and then he just throws that at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're on characters, I think my favorite character would have to be Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
She's up there.
Not you, Sam, the character, Sam.
Sam, we just don't like.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, wait. It's this one. This one. 285.
285. Oh, I'm right near it. Hold on.
So it says, the line that I saw, I was like, whoa. It says, fiction allows us to slide into these other heads, these other places, and look out through other eyes. And then in the tale, blah, 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 blah. We stop before we die, or die vicariously and unharmed. And in the world beyond the tale, we turn the page or close the book and we resume our lives. I was like, oh my god, this is so true. This was like my favorite part of the whole book.
Yeah.
The rest of it was like, and this page, I was like, yes, 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 yes.
I can read to you the part that made me realize just how deep it goes, and I'll tell you my thought process after I read it. It's on page 414, so I'll let you guys flip to it. And it's pretty much the whole first half of the page, but if you want, do you want me to read the whole first half or half of the page or just the first paragraph?
Read the part that made you think that you really liked
like the whole half of the page. I can just read the first paragraph, though.
Okay.
In his delirium, Shadow became the tree. Its roots went deep into the loam of the earth, deep down into time, into the hidden springs. He felt the spring of the woman called Erd, which is to say, past. She was huge, a giantess, an underground mountain of a woman, and the waters she guarded were the waters of time. Other roots went to other places. Some of them were secret. Now, when he was thirsty, he pulled water from his roots, pulled them up into the body of his being. Now, it continues on this kind of thought process, basically saying that he became part of something that was greater than himself, you know? And so, really, I guess, first of all, reading this made me realize, because the one thing that kind of bothered me about Norse mythology was the whole thing about Odin, like how he gave up one of his eyes, right? Or like how he hung from the world tree. And I was like, why would he do that? And then I realized it goes back to that whole hero's journey thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And so right here, he is going through a hero's journey. And then you realize the entire book is a hero's journey where, you know, it's that whole cycle, the whole Joseph Campbell cycle. And he starts out normal, then he goes through this sort of series of trials, and then he becomes something greater than himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helped me realize how deep it was. And then also the very last two pages where he's talking to Odin and he says, I am him, but he is not me, you know, and he's referring to that made me, because basically it's like Wednesday wasn't a god, but a remnant of a god, you know, and he was corrupted, and it's basically, it shows how as these people moved west to America, their visions became kind of distorted, you know?
Hmm.
It's like in the cave metaphor, Wednesday was a shadow, but Odin was the true thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's interesting also because one thing I do know about Neil Gaiman was that he was brought up a Scientologist, and he
Really?
has since and I don't remember how I knew that. I think it's because someone who used to be a Scientologist recommended him to me, and then like my parents looked it up and then said, I don't remember. But but anyway, he was brought up a Scientologist and had since left Scientology. And so it's interesting how it kind of relates to that whole thing where I guess I just speculate, but it seems like it's this notion of how things become distorted as they continue west, and you need to sort of return to the roots.
Yeah,
That's just the impression I got.
that was deep.
Thank you.
I didn't get any of those deep feelings except for that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't until I.
Getting any of them.
Yeah.
I feel like this was like a book I would read for school, but like one of the ones I might enjoy because I would have like a set time I needed to read it in. I needed the motivation to read it,
The motivation, yeah.
but it wasn't too bad in the end.
Yeah, and I'll say again, it is definitely not something I will ever read again, but I am glad that I read it. And I'm probably going to read Neil Gaiman's other book. I had already intended on reading Coraline, just to see what it was about. I hadn't seen the movie, but I heard it was good and stuff. So I was planning on reading that from the beginning. But I want to see what his other books are like and see if they're quite as deep as this one.
Yeah. Maybe in like a year.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm probably not going to read another one in 2016.
Some time away. It took me like 3 months to read this book.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really liked was the writing style, and it was hard to read, but it was just an easy book to read in different. It read easily. You could turn the pages easily. It wasn't dense at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can tell there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah, it was deep, but at the same time, you understood what was happening.
Yeah, and I will say he's also a good writer, not just a storyteller. He's a good writer. The word to word flow across the page, it's very well written.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying.
Sorry.
Sorry.
There was the part where Wednesday died.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. I didn't catch that. And then it was like the next page, and they were like, Wednesday's dead, and I was like, what?
Me too.
What?
Yeah, that was the exact same thought process I had when I read. I was like, whoa, wait, did someone just die?
So I had to like flip to the last page. I was like, wait, what just happened?
When that happened, I was just like, oh, that's new.
Yeah, I mean that happens to me with anything I read. I'll miss a couple things, and it's usually the most important thing.
Oh, now it's just looking at the cover of the book. The tree.
Yeah, I didn't really get that until I read it. Surprisingly enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. One thing I want to talk about, since we're talking about characters, one thing I did like. So we learn about like his experience in jail for like the whole book, and then like we know that he had this like cellmate Loki.
Yeah, Loki.
And then suddenly, like 400 pages in, you learn it's Loki, as in the god Loki. And I was like, I am ready to throw this book down. Just like,
I was really surprised I didn't get that.
I think maybe because I didn't like
Loki.
say it out loud, like Loki Lysmith.
Yeah.
Maybe if I said it, I would have gotten it, but I did it, and I was like, oh my god.
All the different names that the gods have that kind of derive into that. I didn't look into whether like Percy Jackson had any influence from this, but that's something I could definitely see Rick Riordan picking up on and like doing himself.
Yeah. Oh, and there was one part when he was like in the underworld or afterlife, even afterlife, but like, and there was a scale with the feather,
Right.
the dog, and I was like, what? Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that from
Yeah.
Red Pyramid. I was like, oh, oh, relating to
Yeah.
books that we
Yeah.
read.
He combined a lot of. I mean, and it's actually if you read, I forget what it's called, but like one of the sort of, I think it's the warning for travelers. He says, all of the characters in this are fictional. Only the gods are real.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Anything else we want to say about characters?
what did you guys think of Bilquis?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember like anyone. They all sort of melded together because I was trying to read it so
He
fast.
was the
Well, from the
prostitute.
first paragraph, it's going to be
Yeah.
not really PG, and then that part, it's just.
I didn't.
When that's I think that's like right after the first chapter, right? When I read it, I was like, okay, I'm done. I cannot read this
You
anymore.
texted me after that. You were like, "This just happened."
I was like, did you get to the part with the prostitute yet?
I was like, "What?"
And then when you were like, how's it? I'm like, I'm at the part with the autopsy.
Was that what you said? I thought you said you were like at the part with the. I don't know. I didn't go back and look at it, but I thought when I was reading it that you said that you were at the part with like the trial or whatever, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I did not read that in this book.
The trial?
I don't know.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't remember what I might have been referring to. I did. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil anything, but that was a really bad way of putting it. I meant the part with the world tree.
Oh, yeah.
And like that, I started getting really excited around that part, so I texted you about it.
That was a really, really good part.
I was confused. I thought you meant like a lawyer trial, like a trial in court.
Yeah, I know that was like.
That's not in this book.
That was a terrible way of putting it, yeah. And I think that is the part, though, that people were referring to when they say, that part when you can't put it down. It's at that sort of revelation.
Right.
And also, what I'm blanking. Is it Horus who's the eagle? In Egyptian mythology?
It's someone from Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, but it's interesting how they made that god the eagle in the world tree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And I only realized that after I had finished reading.
I was going to say something about it. No, never mind.
We're only 18 minutes in.
No, I was going to... No, we're only on characters. No, there was something I was going to say about the trial. Oh, that you said that like that's the moment that you can't put it down. But it's like 400 pages into the book. There's only like 510 pages in the whole book. So maybe you gotta make that point a bit earlier. So then it's like, I want to read the rest of this book instead of being like, I'm almost finished. And you might put it down before then because it's catching on.
Yeah, I will say. At least in this case, Neil Gaiman is very trusting of his readers that they will keep reading, and that they won't put the book down. Perhaps even too much. Once again, I don't know about his other books, but I feel like he just trusts you to keep reading it. And I guess if you know what the deal is with Neil Gaiman, going into it that it's going to be an experience, and that you just have to keep going. Yeah.
I get what you mean. Okay, so what about the setting? What did you guys think about it?
Well,
it was fun. Lots of road tripping and.
Yeah.
I will say when it got to the part with the house on the rock, I was so weirded out by it. I was like, is this place actually real? I would not want to go there. But it was interesting. I don't remember exactly what it said, but when Wednesday said like something about certain places in America having like, you know, spiritual, magical energy, whatever it was. I don't remember. But that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, maybe this will actually be a good book. And then, and then I didn't like it again.
Okay, so I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe it'll get better. Maybe the whole prostitute thing was just to get rid of the people who wouldn't appreciate it. But it just kept going. I did not like reading it. I will say that.
What about after that part that you really liked?
Well, after the part yeah. Well, I was upset when Laura died again.
Yeah.
For the second time. But I
Honestly,
assumed that would happen. I was like, okay, that would be kind of weird if she just kind of comes back to life and they live happily ever after, you know. It's like, oh, you were dead for a little while, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
if I have like a roster, I feel like if I had like a list of characters, Laura just kind of slipped farther and farther down for me, and I was so. I wish we could have seen more of her
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, that's the thing. I wish we could have seen her more before she died, and then also I did appreciate though the part when she kills the two guys. What are their names?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
she's like, what was it like? After you're dead, you're just not prejudiced anymore.
Yeah.
I found that part really amusing, but
But also, about Laura. At the beginning, I was like excited because he's like getting out of jail and he's gonna go see his wife, but then his wife is dead, and it's like, oh, I feel bad for him. But then you get back and you find out like she cheated on him, and so I was like, oh my god.
yeah, I knew she was dead, but I didn't know she had cheated on him like before going into it, because I think doesn't it say on the back of the book.
Yeah, mine does.
Yeah, but just before its release, Laura and Shadow's best friend are killed in an accident.
I didn't read the back, I don't think.
Yeah,
My
I
best
tend to
friend
do
died
that,
too.
and I really shouldn't. Because the back can say a lot more sometimes than it should.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Um,
So
I liked the setting of like it being a good town and he like stays there for a while and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you find out it's not a good town and it's like, oops.
Yeah.
I had the wrong idea about this town.
And it was really interesting. I cannot remember her name. Did she like own the apartments or something?
Oh.
How you did at first you didn't really know that they were related, but then there were like certain things that kind of hinted to it, and then when Sam gets there, and you're like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was, because when it had that first chapter that Sam was in, I was like, oh, I really hope she's coming back. Because she's the only character I like so far, and like yeah, I was really glad when she came back. Oh, and when with the description of Odin at the end, did either of you picture Gandalf? A little bit.
I didn't.
Oh, I did.
I pictured
Just because of the way how he said he had the cloak and then the blue hat.
I pictured Wednesday looking like Alex Trebek from Jeopardy.
I did not like Wednesday at all.
I sort of
I was
pictured
hoping I would like him, but I was like, this is not
Yeah.
how I imagined Odin to be. I don't like this.
I sort of pictured the guy from the Thor movie.
Yeah.
In a way. Like I envisioned like his armor and like his beard and stuff, but like his face, I don't know.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Thor since the Magnus Chase live show.
So I
Still,
have
so no, like I've never seen it. So,
Oh, no.
I mentioned in that one that I had seen it, and you guys were like,
Oh,
what?
yes.
I still
have
haven't.
You gotta watch those.
Yeah, so I have like a very not really focused image of the Norse gods. It's just kind of basic.
Yeah, mine. I don't think I meant to do that. I just sort of happened. It was like he's got his eye chopped off and everything. I don't see people like that every day.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you think of the end? Finding the girl who was lost.
Yeah.
In the trunk the whole time.
What? Here's the thing. You know how you were saying you had hoped the "you can't put it down" point had happened earlier?
Yeah.
Right.
I agree, but I think the epilogue was really drawn out. How it had like that. Well, it just had that whole after part where like Shadow almost dies. You
Yeah.
know. Um, I mean,
What
that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's just personal
I
taste.
feel like just because it was an epilogue, it should have been like one chapter. It's over. But
Yeah,
it was
they
like
live happily ever
three
after, and
chapters,
this
and I
is
was
kind of
like,
what.
wait, what? Why are there so many chapters in an epilogue? Epilogue's like its own little section of the book.
Yeah, I mean, really, I would have moved everything else to the end of the story, and then had just the part with him in Iceland as the epilogue.
That
Hmm.
would have been good.
Yeah.
Um,
I was still curious about like because I remember that there was a thing with the children going missing and that was never really explained, and I was wondering if we get something from
yeah, I
that.
mean,
And
I was worried that he would just abandon it, and you'd never find out. It was just there to, to take up some space, but no, he did address it, and that I am glad. But
Yeah, I felt like that was well done because I didn't picture it being Hinselman. I don't know how to say his name.
yeah,
I didn't picture it being him at all.
I only really know because
Why?
for the rest of it, I listened to the audiobook.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, and it was pretty decent. It's still a weird story,
Yeah,
but
how was the
the
audiobook?
audiobook made what?
How was the audiobook?
It was great. The guy who did it also actually did Les Mis, and I have that too, and that's how I've been getting through it. While I'm working on my chainmail here, but um, yeah, yeah, it was like 24 hours long, but it was a great audiobook. Uh, at least for American Gods, it was very well done. Um,
I tried to get the audiobook on Overdrive,
uh,
and I put like my whatever you call library thing. I like put it on hold January 28th, and my turn has still not come.
I mean,
I was
really,
like
yeah.
13 on
Yeah.
January 28th, and I still haven't gotten it. I'm next in line, and I was like, "You're too late, Overdrive."
I could have lent it to you, but I didn't really think of that, so sorry. Now, if I need to do an audiobook next time, we can share audiobooks.
Hopefully, it won't be one where I need an audiobook.
Hopefully, yeah.
I've
Hopefully, I'll be
used
like,
it on
"Yes,
an
this
audiobook.
book."
I don't know. We'll see what Molly suggests next time.
Well,
But
this time we're gonna be suggesting things because it's
yeah,
not here.
I have no idea what to suggest, but
I've got mine right here.
I've got some ideas.
I've been thinking about it, but I just don't know. I
Okay, well, we're gonna talk about that in like 30 minutes. So,
Okay.
what did you think of like the overall plot? I feel like we sort of talked about this already, but like, go.
Okay. Even though it was easy to, read it page by page, I think the plot was very dense. Not how it was written, just the plot itself. It was, I felt like it could have been cut down a bit, personally. But, it's a long book, and I wasn't really expecting a long book until I started reading it. I don't know. For some reason, I just wasn't expecting.
I think I get what you mean because while it wasn't hard to like read it page by page, having it so long and having like so much story in there for you to focus on, it like really made you think about it, and you had to like get into the story so you could read it, and you had to like know what was happening while you were reading it, or else you're gonna be totally lost. So it was like you have to sort of invest yourself into this story, and it made it more dense because you had to sort of put that into the book to get
Yeah.
anything out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And otherwise, I don't really know what I thought about the plot. It's just very interesting. It's very warped. The whole thing is just very warped. But yeah, I've mixed feelings.
The plot is one of the things, yeah, I didn't love. I didn't really find it dense. I just thought it was kind of all over the place, and it just
Yeah,
jumping
agreed.
around to so many different things. And there are things that I still don't even know how they resolve. Like, there was the guy, when they were doing the truce at the center of America,
Mhm.
and he was like screaming in his room, the fat kid. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we really figured out what was going on there, or if we
Yeah.
did, I didn't pick up on it.
I didn't know what that was about either. I thought it was going to I mean, it could have been resolved, but I didn't really uh, pick up on it either.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, there were a couple things like that. And whenever he had the separate storylines, I thought it was going to somehow like be extremely
Yeah.
important, but then it was just these little miniature stories that kind of have to do. It has to do with
The
the
god.
the point of the story and the message of the story, yeah. But I thought it would actually tie into the events of the story.
That's what I thought, because I feel like if you took those out, it could have been shorter and it could have been a bit not in my opinion it could have been better because then he could have like added those at the end. Like these are some other stories that are sort of set in the same world, but not necessarily at like
Yeah,
in the same like
yeah. I
same world.
think I think the reason why he had all of those in was just because he really wanted to um,
Expand the world.
well, and he wanted to expand the idea.
Idea.
Yeah, because all of them had to do with gods traveling to America over time and then kind of becoming distorted or ending up in situations that made them either more that kind of disguised them as people or that turned them into different kinds of gods.
Mm-hmm.
But I
One
mean,
part I really sorry.
I
One
just
part I really liked about it was the one where there's the guy and he's the taxi driver, and there's the guy and he's like selling this stuff for his sister's husband, and he doesn't like him, and no, everyone thinks that they don't like him. And he got sent over to America, and he's going to like sell these things, but he's not doing well. And then he has to wait the whole day for the guy to come, and he never meets with him. And then he gets in the cab and like talks to the guy. I really liked that guy. I liked that short story. That was like one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah. And there was something else that kind of left off, and you think it's gonna come back, like especially among all the others, because this one is modern day, and I feel like there was some reference to it, but nothing really conclusive that we saw about it. But I actually really liked all the historical stuff by itself,
yeah.
kind of standing alone from the story.
Yeah, yeah, and I was very fascinated because I'm into like early U.S. history. Like people coming to America from the East, but and well, or West, depending on how you look at it. And so that story about the tribes wandering over the Bering Strait, whatever it's called. And how it said that like they were, I think it's something like them that they would abandon their god when they came to the new land or whatever.
Yeah.
And so after I didn't think much of it then, but then after reading it I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was like an interesting way to put it because then the idea that there were like new gods, like TV and
Yeah.
highways.
And also, just a side note, it was really interesting how he presents the gods interacting with the people. How Wednesday is disguised as just a regular person, but then in that story, when they're coming over to America, people have to put on this costume, and then they become like possessed by the god.
Hmm.
And that was really interesting to read about.
Yeah. Sort of similar. Are you still there?
Yeah.
I can't see you.
Oh.
Um, so sort of similar to that is that I liked um I'm downloading that plugin thing again. Are you still there?
What? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you just want me to like say something every 5 seconds?
Yes. You keep talking and I'll.
Yeah. Well, what does it look like?
What?
Like you said, are you still there?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
can you see me?
No.
What does it look? Is the screen like black or something? What do you see?
I see you.
Hi Bridget, get us started by calling or messaging a friend below.
Uh,
No. Um, I don't know.
do we know how many people are watching this right now?
I knew before. Now I know. Can I like join? Hang
Just a
on.
brief intermission, right?
Okay, wait. You keep talking. What did you think about it?
Well, I mean, that was pretty much all I was going to say about that.
No,
But let me think. Let me think. I feel like there was so much I was. The thing is, I was going to get all like literary, and that's not really.
go on.
Okay, hold on, hold on. I need to call this on. Sam, if you think of anything, just
I feel like I should have so much more, but the thing is, I'm so neutral about this book that it's just blanking. Okay,
you know, I'm the opposite of neutral. I simultaneously despised it and I really appreciate it. You know, but made me physically sick. But I'm glad I read it. So anyway,
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna be like real now. And basically, I stopped reading. Well, no, I read like 100 pages before when you call it, like in December,
yeah, same.
and because like that's when it was when we started reading the book.
We were probably both lying to each other
Yeah,
at that time. You were like, "Oh, I'm about halfway." I'm like, "Well, I'm less than halfway done, but I've been reading
yeah,
this whole
I'm
time."
reading.
You're like, "Well, I've been reading, but we're
I'm
probably
reading.
both not reading it."
Well, basically, so I
Probably.
read that 100-ish pages, and now, no, not now, because obviously I finished the book now. I did finish the book today.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you texting me earlier today, and you're like, "It's all right. I'm gonna finish in time."
I thought I might have to like change the like, because you were like, oh, you want to do it at like, and we're doing it at 6 to 7. I was like, yeah, maybe 7 to 8, because I thought I would need more time. I don't. I finished in time, because I was reading it, and then like yesterday I got to page like 170, and I realized I was like, I am no way near finishing this book. I'm not gonna finish it tomorrow, and tomorrow's a live show. I was like, I need to like step up my game here. So I started like skimming all the pages.
Yeah, read the first and last sentence of every paragraph, right?
No, that's not what it is. It's just like I like
Yeah, just
eyes move down the page,
yeah.
and if anything looks like.
Yeah. I mean, when I finally picked it back up in like mid to late January, is when I stopped in like mid-December and then I resumed in like late January. I read a few pages and I'm like, I'm just not going to get this done. What am I going to do? And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if there's a decent audiobook. And then I found the guy's name is George Guidall. And apparently he's like done the most audiobooks out of everyone in history or something. So I was very happy when I saw that. 'Cause I was like, what am I going to do? Like Bridget needs me.
that was
Yeah.
me like panicking back in September when I was reading S, and I didn't know that like
Oh,
we
I'm
ended
sorry.
up doing Whispers of the Fallen for the whole live show, and I just spent the week before pushing myself to the very brink with everything so I could finish it.
So sorry.
It's okay. It was a good book. It was so good.
Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting book.
Yep.
And okay, so I got up at like 5:30 this morning and read for like a half hour until 6, and I read 70 pages in that half hour. I skim read 70 pages.
Wow.
And at that moment, I was like, I can finish this book by 6 o'clock today.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of books where I've been able to read like 100 books in books pages. 100 books in a day. I know, impressive, right? They're about that thick. No, about 100 pages in a day, you know. But this one is, I mean, first of all, the print is much smaller. So a page in this is definitely more than a page in, you know, like an Avi book or something. um, so in this one, it would be like a challenge to read maybe 20 pages in a day for me, especially because I just couldn't stand it. Huh.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going to go back to Neil Gaiman, just not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Barnes and Noble the other day, I saw his books on the shelf, and I was like, you know, let me just take a peek.
Yeah. Like, I'll look at it, but maybe not right
I think the next one will be Coraline because that is a children's book. And actually, in the audiobook, there is a short interview with him.
Yeah, there's that in our book too.
Yeah. So and he said like he wrote Coraline as a children's book, and for children it was an adventure novel, and for adults it was a horror novel. Because you know it's just different waves of perception, you know.
Yeah.
Because with the children, it's not about the buttons sewed onto the eyes or any of that. It's about, you know, this girl going on an adventure through a wall in her house.
Yeah.
But the adults pick up on like the subtle things that really make it disturbing.
I think I would,
Yeah, because you pick it up.
I think I would maybe like pick up next Anansi Boys because that's in this world, but
Yeah.
all different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not anytime soon.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think of it, okay?
Okay.
Tell me if you think it has the same complexity as this one, and if it, you know, if it's because I think this was definitely worth reading, and I think lots of people should read it. And I will say now that you will most likely despise it, but it is still a good thing to have read, in my opinion.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have read. You know, I feel like I took something away from it. You know,
That's
so
how I look at anything by Charles Dickens right there.
yeah.
Like, it's good in hindsight, but as you're reading it, you...
Yeah, well, I mean, Dickens was paid by the word, so he made some unnecessarily long sentences.
Yeah.
I'm sure his books would have been decent if he had just tapered it down, and you know, and they were paying him for the quality rather than.
I would pay by the word.
I'm sure it would have been fantastic, but you know, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was let the cash run in.
I feel like it's sort of like it's a good book to have read so you can talk about it and like discuss it with other people. But at the same time, it's like it's not for myself. Like I would want to read it. Like
Yeah, it is not.
I pick off my shelf. That's YA. Like Illuminae. That's right here.
Yeah.
I would pick that up and I'd have fun reading it and stuff. But that's not what I would say about this one. It was more like, now I'm educated and I can talk about this, except I'm not educated because I didn't get any of the philosophical things you did get, Peter. So, just like, I don't know what happened with me with this book, but it wasn't going on.
Yeah, after like reading, every time I finished reading this, I'm like, I'm going to go read The Hobbit and cleanse my soul. Because this is not at all for me. I felt like disgusted and dirty after reading this each and every time I read apart from it. I just, except for the scenes with like Sam and Tinselman and those people. My computer's low on battery, so I'm just plugging in. Yeah.
It was so hard for me because like I sat down one weekend with the last 200 pages and I'm like, I'm going to get this done. And I had just finished reading Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and that was such like a light, easy book to go through, and I was in that phase where I just wanted to read more of that.
Yeah.
But I was sitting down and making myself read this, and the first 50 pages were so just so difficult, and I hated it, but I loved it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it in my opinion at least, it's written in a very old-fashioned way. It has that very long beginning, and then the middle and end are sort of blended together, and it's all one short sequence. But I feel like when he finally got to Lakeside, I felt like I had been reading this book forever, and then Lakeside is only in the middle of the book.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's still kind of the beginning, because that's like kind of where everything gets settled and it really starts to move along. But that isn't until about halfway, and even so, there's still another half of the book. And it's like, I'm still in the beginning. What's left? What could possibly be left?
Yeah.
After like the House on the Rock and all of that, it was just. So, like, if they were to make a movie out of this, it would probably take a lot of adapting. I heard something about a television.
Yeah, I looked it up. There's like a TV show in the works. I think it's supposed to premiere like by the end of this year.
That I could totally see working, a television show.
Yeah.
Because it is such a long book, all 500 whatever pages of it.
But it has the structure of like being divided into different little sections. Like it has an episodic like structure.
Yeah.
The thing is about people talking about books turning into TV shows, everyone's like, oh, well, they'll have more time to go through stuff as a TV show. And while I get that, like, if each episode is 45 minutes, that's in the end going to be longer than, like, a movie that's an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. But if that book doesn't get renewed for, like, another season, then you could just get cut off in the middle of the book. And there you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's under the assumption that it will get renewed. They just have to make it good. But the thing is, with a television show, they can cover more. They can, because with movies you always have to cut stuff out. You can't fully adapt. You can't fully adapt a 500-page novel into a movie without cutting, some things out. Exactly, right? Exactly. And even other stuff, but with this, if they were to make a television show, they could take each and every little thing out of this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could adapt practically every sentence if they really wanted to. If they really wanted to. So, they could. And so that, I think, in that case, a show's easier.
Just briefly talking about Order of the Phoenix and Harry Potter. Are you excited about the new Harry Potter book?
Yes. That's the wasn't it like the
Child? Harry Potter.
It was like for the Cursed Child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the script or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also we're also very excited about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Of course.
Of course. I need to reread that. I got it when I was like, whenever it came out. Whenever the book came out is when I got it. I got all of those books, not in the box set like they have now.
I have the box set.
Yeah, no, me too. I can show you if you want.
I got the old box set that had Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts like 10 years ago. I checked, and they are the oldest books I have on my shelf.
Yeah, I got them. I believe I got them before.
Oh.
What?
Peter, hold on. I think he cut out. Oh.
Hear what I'm saying? Can you hear what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, now we can.
There we are.
Yeah, you guys had frozen. I don't know what happened on my end, but I don't know what the order was, but I believe I got them before the Tales of Beedle the Bard came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, enough about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
We're talking about Neil Gaiman. Even if we don't want to.
What didn't we talk about that was on my list of things to talk about? We already sort of talked about writing, that we all thought the writing was easy to read and we liked it. So just sort of to get back to what we thought of this book. How did you guys enjoy it overall? Just the overall opinions, everything, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I simultaneously hated it and really appreciated it. I believe I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. So it is both a 0 out of a million and a 100%. Because the concept of it, first of all, what it's about, I thought was really fascinating. I mean, if anyone watching this saw the Magnus Chase live show, I thought it was a really cool sounding book the way Molly was describing it. And so I was like, oh yeah, we should read that, because it sounded cool. God, gods coming to America, and like how they change and this, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting, And so the concept of it is really interesting, and the principles behind it, and the ideas that are in it. But the writing style, while Neil Gaiman is a very good writer, it was not for me. A lot of events in the story were not for me. A lot about this story was not for me. So that's the 0.
Yeah.
Mild enjoyment, but at the same time, there's so much that limited it. I could actually see myself reading this again in maybe 5 years and really enjoying it, but right now, it just wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My cousin was the one who read it over the summer that I mentioned earlier. If she's watching this, I feel like really bad for not remembering her age, but she's like 21, I think. And she said she really liked it, and I was like, I'm just not feeling it. And she's like, why? And I was just like, well, I mean, I don't know, it's just the sex and the this and that. And she's like, oh, maybe read it when you're older. then you'll probably like it. And I was like, okay.
I don't even know if that was what bothered me about it. It was just the concept, as you said, sounded really cool, but the way it was executed wasn't.
I mean, he writes in a very grotesque style.
Yes.
It's very warped, and and I knew that because I knew a little bit about Coraline. I just didn't know quite to the extent, because Coraline is for children, this is for adults. So when I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is like X-rated Coraline.
And then when you get to those parts, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I did not think that would ever happen in a novel, but all right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I read through all 5 Game of Thrones books, and this is still one of the most.
And I need to read Game
of Thrones. One of the most unsettling things.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard things about Game of Thrones. I haven't read it, and I intend to read it.
Did you watch the show?
No, I've only heard things, and I've heard that it's like really, violent.
Up there, I'm rereading.
And I was like, all right, well, that's probably like maybe the worst thing out there. And then I read this, I'm like, if Game of Thrones is worse than this, I will want.
I feel like it would be better because I mean.
It's so terrifyingly not worse than this in any respect.
That's good.
Yeah, people thought George R.R. Martin has a warped mind. They just need to read Neil Gaiman.
I watched the first couple episodes of Game of Thrones.
It's funny. I know nothing. I know nothing about Game of Thrones, but I have seen a lot of George R.R. Martin interviews. Because I really like watching author interviews, especially Tolkien, and I think George R. R. Martin is the next best thing in terms of crafting the stories. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe now I actually want to read Game of Thrones because it sounds so interesting, his process behind it and whatnot, and it's probably really cool fantasy once you get past the severity of it.
Yeah.
Now that I've read this, I think I'm almost
ready.
desensitized.
It's time.
It is time, yeah.
Time. Oh, it is time.
So, any last thoughts, and then we can pick the next book.
Being completely blunt, I kind of just want to be done with this and not have to think about it anymore.
Me too, but I will say, if anyone thinks they could possibly bear it, go for it. Go try to read it.
Already read it.
It will be painful. It will be so painful, but it's like the reader themselves is going through that hero's journey.
You're watching this and you really love this book.
It is a struggle, it is a trial, and then at the end, if you're like me, you took something away from it.
I didn't.
Maybe I'm just seeing things that aren't there. I don't know, but I thought it was worth it, even though I couldn't bear it.
I
I
mean,
thought,
they probably already read the book if they're already here.
yeah,
But good
yeah.
advice.
Thank you. So any ideas for next time? I have no clue.
Um,
I've already got mine.
what's yours?
I picked a contemporary. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson.
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, so
I was thinking of recommending either Truth Witch or Passenger.
I never know what to because the thing is, all the books I want to read are books you guys don't like.
Yeah, so what else do you
or
think?
wouldn't read for this. Like, on my list I have like The Hound of the Baskervilles and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
One sec. Let me see those books that you just sent.
Oh, I have an updated version. I'll send it to you right now because I finished making the list. Hold on.
Okay.
Please bear with us, anyone watching this.
I think. Okay, so what would you rather have as my choice? Truth Witch or Passenger?
I know nothing about either, but
Okay, so Truth Witch is like a high fantasy about like people with elemental powers and stuff.
yeah, I mean, honestly, while that does sound cool at this point, we've read a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
we have.
And then I have other options.
Is Passenger?
Passenger is about time traveling.
Yeah, just the thing is, because
Contemporary stuff. Hold on.
because
Let me
the
look
thing is,
at
if we
mine.
ever want to read a non-fantasy book, and this group kind of becomes known for reading fantasy,
Very true.
I don't want us to become stuck,
Right.
Yes,
So it'd be nice to do other genres.
of course. I would like to.
I love literature. So if you guys would ever want to do something a bit more,
Yes.
but most people don't really care for it.
Um,
So yeah, I sent you my because
updated.
I planned out the duodecathon this year for myself. I sent you the list, and then I have some other books that I got, like is it The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King? I haven't read any Stephen King books, but I want to get into that one. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. So there's this one. I don't think it's fantasy or anything.
I will. Are you reading? What are you reading right now? What are you looking at?
The Coral Island
Oh.
by R.M. Ballantyne.
The thing I sent you still hasn't finished. It hasn't been. It just shows the blue line,
I
slowly.
got that. Okay, other options that I have. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. It's like, hold on, I think I already, oh yeah, I do. It's there's a girl, Lou, and she like doesn't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't know if she's about to lose her job or like what's gonna happen next. And then there's this other guy, Will Trainer, and he gets hit by a motorcycle and he doesn't want to live anymore. And then
That's pretty thick.
and then Lou comes and helps him. That's all I've gotten from the title so far. Yeah. Not the title.
If we want something more lightweight, like a children's book, I recently got The Invention of Hugo Cabret. The movie Hugo. It's the book that it was based off of.
Yes.
But half of it it's like about that thick, but half
Is that
of
why
it
you chose it?
No, because I thought the movie was so great, and I wanted to get the book, and then I was getting through it, and I was like, oh, this is much like shorter than I thought it would be. But I intend to read that this year, and actually I think it's on my duodecathon list. So I'd be killing two birds with one stone if we do that one.
Oh, just saying. You forget that we read Paper Towns too. So.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking maybe one day by Melissa Cantor. There's another option.
Yeah, I mean, all of these I haven't heard of. I'm still stuck in the all of these
About
old books I
the
want
joy
to.
of friendship, the agony of loss, and the unique experience of being a teenager with a girl grappling with her best friend's life-threatening illness.
Okay.
Let me hold on.
Well, if we're looking for like a darker kind of contemporary,
I have all of those.
well, like it's okay. I've got "I Was Here" by Gail Forman, and this is the one that's about like a girl and her best friend from high school commit suicide,
Oh,
and it dives into all these,
Oh,
you know.
yeah, I saw that one. I don't have that one, but I know which one that is.
yeah, I don't know.
What about what's that? I just read Maybe One Day by Gail Forman.
Hmm.
Wait, do you mean Just One Day?
Yes, that's what I mean. I
Okay.
always confuse it.
What about? Hold on, just a
That was a
second.
good book. I listened to that on audiobook.
Was it good?
Yes. What's
What
up?
about a Doctor Who book? I've been wanting to read The Last of the Gadarene by Mark Gatiss, and it's about the
You want
third.
us to get away from fantasy, Peter.
Well, I know. Well, I mean, yeah. It was just a thought. It was just a thought.
Excuse me.
No, it's not fantasy. It is science fiction.
It is science fiction.
Oh, sure.
It was just the thought because I was thinking like, what's something that like I want to read that they might actually like, and that was the only thing I could think of. No clue.
There are so many possible books I could read, and I don't know any of them for some reason. I have a very small contemporary section. You have to be honest.
You guys into Agatha Christie?
Before I Fall.
Lauren Oliver?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the one.
It's got the girl with the face on the cover, and she's like falling over. Haha. Let me look up that one. I can tell you what it's about, Peter.
All right.
Okay. So there's a popular high school senior, Samantha Kingston, and there's like a Valentine's Day party, and it should be the best because she's very popular, and then she dies in a terrible accident. And then she wakes up the next morning, and she lives to the last day of her life 7 times, and then she realizes that by making changes, she can like hold power, more power than she ever imagined.
Whoa.
Wow.
The Common Core state standards.
The Common Core state standards. Wow. That. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't think anything I suggest will be something you guys would want to read. So unless it's like Evil Under the Sun, that's one of Agatha Christie's mysteries from like the 30s. You know, Poirot, the Belton detective. Yeah. No idea. So it'd probably be better to to go with one of yours, but
So which one are we gonna read?
Well, what would you say is your favorite out of the ones? Like, which one would you want to read the most out of the ones you?
The ones I just listed off.
Or any other ones, you know? Just what do you think you would most want to read?
I'm gonna stick with I'll Give You the Sun. So this is
just reading the what you call it? Oh my god, summary for Before I Fall. I will choose that one.
okay.
Peter, you're the deciding vote.
Oh God, I'm terrible.
I don't have the picture of the book.
What?
I don't have a picture of the book.
All right, then I'll go with Sam's because I don't know what the cover looks like.
No. Hold on, let me
The
send
cover.
it to you.
Oh crap.
No, I mean I don't know what the cover of Bridget's looks like, you know.
1 sec. 1 sec.
Because you get the greatest impression from the cover. Everyone knows that. It's all about the cover. The book isn't good unless it has a good cover.
I sent you the cover.
Oh, well, let me see. It still hasn't sent the list I sent you. So.
Did you get my image?
No.
Wait, I'll put it on Twitter.
All right, yeah, because I probably won't get it on iMessage until after mine sends.
So go on to Twitter. I'm gonna put it on there.
All right. Oh, I heard the.
Does anyone want to read? Tweet. It's gone. There it is. There's the cover.
Wait, hold on.
Everyone go to my Twitter, @BridgetBooks.
Hold on.
That's where the cover is.
In the message thing, are you
No,
saying?
I just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Oh, you tweeted it out. Okay.
Everyone can see it.
I'm terrible. I only recently actually got a Twitter, so I'm still figuring this out. Sorry.
So what do you think of the cover?
I do not see the cover. I see, does anyone want to read Before I Fall for Bt&F, but I don't see the cover.
The cover is right underneath.
Oh, I got the image in the text now. Okay, I think I'll go with Sam. Sorry, Bridget.
Ah! How could you do this to me?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I see how it is.
Well, I'm not offended by you guys not wanting to read what I suggest. Like, I remember last time when I was like, how about like we do the Chronicles of Narnia or something, and Molly was like, yeah, I read that when I was like 5. I was like, wow.
I still would read those. So
yeah, they're great stories. You're never too good children.
I read like half the book. I have a big bind up, and I read like half.
Now I understand her mind a little bit better with this.
Okay.
Maybe, I think she would probably really appreciate it if we read Peter Pan one time.
Yes.
And talk about it once we've all read it.
Yes.
So yeah, Sam, what's yours called? I'm going to write it.
Oh wait, maybe you should nominate that one, Peter.
What?
Why don't you nominate Peter Pan?
What? Oh, do we want to read? Well, I don't know. Do you think she'll be available to talk about it? Because that would really suck if she wasn't.
We could probably work something out.
All right. Well, then I guess I nominate Peter Pan for this one.
Since no one wants to read my book.
See, now you know how it feels.
I'm gonna vote for Peter Pan.
And I will second that.
Because I own Peter Pan and I don't know.
Wow, that was quite a turn of events. So I guess we are reading Peter Pan. I have it, but that's what I forgot. I forgot to get a new copy of it because I will show you why.
Mine's downstairs.
I had gotten this one on Amazon, right? It's the Centennial Edition, whatever.
Uh-huh.
If you notice while flipping through it, it's kind of like the print is off. Let me see if I can find a good. Look at this. It goes, and it's like very inconsistent. It gets. And there's a part right in the middle where all of the pages are shorter.
My American Gods is like that.
It cuts some stuff off. It actually cuts a couple things off. So I'm going to get a new copy of this, and then I will read it. And I'll probably get through it pretty quickly. But hopefully Molly will be able to do that live show with us. Because that would really suck for her if she couldn't.
Yeah.
And it works out. Once again, I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone because this is the book I'm reading for the Name in Your Title challenge.
It's not just the title, it's on the cover.
Yeah. See, Bridget, aren't you so glad I'm supporting you?
Yes, it's great.
By participating in the duodecathon.
You should make a video about it.
No, I'm going to. I might even film it later today. But I'm going to go through the list. Yeah.
So, Peter Pan is our next book. Peter, I think you should dress up as Peter Pan next week.
No.
We
No.
can all dress up as, just kidding, I'm not doing that. Okay. I
Okay.
think that's the end of our live show.
Okay.
Anyone have any last thoughts, or do we want to move on from American Gods?
I want to move on from
I
American
want to move
Gods.
on from American Gods.
Competition.
I no longer have a pit in my stomach.
I have finished the book. I have
Yeah.
served my duty.
Finished it, and we are done. It is behind us. I honestly feel like keeping this on my bookshelf, though, for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, me too, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I only keep certain books on my bookshelf.
Oh.
That's the thing. Because my bookshelf is tiny, and because, I want it to, reflect what I, appreciate and stuff. But this might actually end up on there. I won't get a nicer one, but this will probably stay. So yeah, I'm
As a
done.
memento of time spent on this book.
Yeah. We how many? Okay, let's think. So we were going to have the live show in like early January, right?
Right. And before
Yeah.
that,
We were going to have it in December, weren't we? It was.
We're gonna have it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we did our live show on Halloween or near Halloween.
Yeah.
We all dressed up. That was fun. That's the only time I used my costume, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe I
So
can come up
we've
with
been
more
waiting to do this live show for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
guys.
that's okay. That's okay. It don't have to be every month,
No, this one will be next month.
Yeah, this one will be next month because if
Book.
unless Molly can't do it because we can't do that to her.
Yeah. No, we're gonna get a date where she's free.
Yeah. But this one we'll get through pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think that's the end of our American Gods live show.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for joining.
And Peter Pan is our next book, so look out for the date of that. I'll have it on Goodreads, possibly, and on Twitter, obviously. Okay. Bye!
Bye. Is she gone?
Yeah, I don't know. We're still on.
Oh my gosh. And it's live. We're still
Yeah,
live.
I know. It's I think Bridget's frozen. That is the best timing, I have to say.
Yes.
I don't know. Is there a way to edit this stuff out? I have no idea. I think she edited the Whispers of the Fallen one because there was like a spoiler in that or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how all this stuff works. I don't know if you can edit something once it's been posted. She's I think she lost her connection.
Okay.
I wonder who's watching. I wonder if people are actually watching this right now. They must be quite amused. Well, if you are still watching this, it's over. So go read Peter Pan.
If you love this book, I'm sorry, but
yeah, it was I should have read the quotes on the side. That would have kind of revealed it. Mystery, satire, sex, horror, poetic prose. American Gods uses all these to keep the reader turning the pages. Well, it kind of kept me from turning the pages, but whatever floats your boat.
that's right. Spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the book is.
What the person on the front said, dark, fun, and nourishing to the soul. I did not think it was nourishing to the soul. Well, until after I read it. But while I was reading, I'm like, how is this nourishing to the soul? It's disturbing. It makes me feel like
It's something that gets nourishment from your soul.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's what we have.
Maybe we should just hang out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See ya. Everyone.
Oh, wait!
See ya.
Am I here? No.